In this video, we're going to be filling out our local business Excel template. Now, you're going to want to fill this out every single time you do local SEO for a business, a client, or if it's your own business. Every single time you're going to want to fill this out. It just makes life so much easier. You can always refer back to this. We're going to be doing it quite a few times in this action map. Whenever we need information, we're just going to grab it right from this Excel document. So you can download our template right below this video. So this document only has 9 lines of information about the business, but you can obviously add any notes or anything you might have to refer back to later on. You can put it in this document, obviously. It's for your own reference. So if you create a Twitter account, you put the username and password, that'll obviously help you later on when you need to log back into that Twitter account. You can go back here and quickly find that information. This can come in handy when you start to get a lot of clients, or if you run an agency. If you're just doing this for your own business and that's it, then you might not need this template, but it can still come in handy. So let's go ahead and start filling it out as if you were doing it for a business. The first step is to put the business name. Now that's self-explanatory, so I'll just leave that. You put the name of the business. The next step is a Google email. You don't have to use a Google email, but we're going to be using a Google account for quite a few different things. Like Google My Business and Google Maps and stuff like that. So put a Google account here. If your client doesn't have one, or if you don't have one for your business, just go ahead and create a Google account. Make sure you fill it out with all the information. Don't just make a skeleton account. Make sure it has all the description, a picture, and make it look like a complete real person, not just a skeleton account. The third step is to put the business address, and we're going to need this for pretty much every citation. So this is important. Now, if you're a real business, you have an office or a store, then you already know what your address is. If you have a client and they have a store or an office or some kind of physical location, then they have an address for you. If you have a client, it's very easy. You just ask the client what address they would like to use. If you don't have an address, or your client doesn't have an address, then what you need to do is come up with some kind of virtual office or something like that. So let me give you an example. Let's say one of my clients wanted to rank for Los Angeles web design, and they didn't have an office. They didn't have a physical location. So I would work with that client, or this might be the case for you as well. So Los Angeles web design, what you would want to do is probably get a virtual office. But I have a few tips there as well. So what I'm going to do is search on Google for Los Angeles. You always want a local one, so Los Angeles virtual office. And typically, we're going to stay away from the bigger websites that rent out virtual offices, just because Google might be cracking down on that and recognizing those addresses. So really, we want something that is local to Los Angeles and is a little bit smaller and something more suitable for what we need. Basically, we're just going to scroll down on Google here and look for something that is specific to that area. So blank space here looks like, they rent out virtual office space in that surrounding LA area. So this would be a good place to rent out virtual office space. Now, it's not going to be cheap, but it is necessary to have an address if you're doing local SEO. Now, this might cost you $50 a month, might cost you $100 a month. You might be able to find one cheaper than $50. I don't know, but you want to make sure you look around and get one that is local, specific only to that local area and not a big national brand. So if you need to get virtual office space, do that and come up with an address for your business. Once you do that, go ahead and fill out that Excel file with the address that you're going to use. The next step is a little bit more important. We're going to spend a lot of time on this, which is the phone number. Now, if you're doing this for your own business, it doesn't really matter. You can put your phone number here and move on to the next step. If you're doing this for clients, chances are you're going to want to track the phone calls that are coming to that number. That way, you can tell your client how many calls that your SEO is generating for them. And just you yourself can keep track of that information. So basically, there are a few ways to go get a phone number. And if you don't already have one, you want to follow these steps as well. So for that Los Angeles web design example, if you don't have a phone number for your business, you'd want to go through this process and make sure you get a phone number. So I'm going to jump over to Google and search for Twilio, which is what I like to use for purchasing phone numbers. So that is TWILIO.com. And they sell phone numbers for $1 per month. So it's very, very cheap. And I'm not actually going to purchase a phone number through Twilio. We're going to use a third-party service. But I just wanted to show you the main site in case you decide to use some kind of other interface to track calls. You're not doing any tracking with Twilio. This is simply just to get your phone number. So here we could look for what phone numbers are available, what the area code is, and you could even purchase it on here. But I like to do it through a third party that's also going to be tracking my calls. So for that, we can use analytic call tracking. Which is analyticcalltracking.com. And this is a third-party service that's going to allow you to track your calls easily and purchase a phone number from Twilio right through this service. So you would sign up, create an account, and then you would just go search for a phone number, and you want to make sure you get a local phone number with the local area code. So for example, the area code in Tampa is 813. So if I was going to be doing this for a business in Tampa, then the phone number that I would get would be an 813 number. And you can do that all through Twilio or analytic call tracking. But again, this is just going to allow you to track your calls for your clients, or if you're just doing it for yourself, for your own business. That way you can find out which calls are coming from where. Obviously, you want to be able to see if your SEO is working, if your page 1 rankings are actually generating calls. So that's why we do call tracking. So check out analytic call tracking. You can check out Calzoo as well. There are many different call tracking. So I'm actually going to go to Google and search for call tracking. So call tracking metrics, I've never used them. I've used Callfire, analytic call tracking, Calzoo. So just use one of those services, or you can search for other ones. But again, the phone number will cost you about $1 per month. Now, if you already have a phone number for your business and you don't want to track calls, then just go ahead and pop in your business phone number right into this Excel file. If not, then go get one on Twilio, set up call tracking, and put that phone number into the Excel file, because we're going to be using it later on for all of our citations. The next step is description. And here we're going to put a pretty short description of the business. And we're also going to tie in a few of our main keywords into that description. Typically, you want to keep this under 500 words. Even under 300 words would probably be better. So you want to keep it pretty short. The description is simply just about your business. If it's one of your clients, you can ask them for a short description about their business, and then you can modify it, maybe put in a couple main keywords that they want to rank for. Don't over-optimize. Please don't over-optimize by stuffing a bunch of keywords in the description, but just come up with a quality, short description that's unique. Luckily, we're going to be using the same description for every citation. We don't have to make a unique one every single time. So we write this once and we can just copy and paste it later on. The next step is keywords. And here we're going to come up with a list of all keywords that we want to use for our citations. So chances are you already have a list of keywords that you'd like to rank for, or that you want your site to show up for, that you want to be able to rank your Yelp page, Facebook page. So just pop those keywords into this section. Generally, you want to keep this under 10 keywords. So if you have more than that, just pick your top 10 keywords and put them into this Excel file. So again, if it was the web design Los Angeles example, then our first keyword would probably be web design Los Angeles. And from there, we would have, 8 or 9 more similar keywords to that. So we might do graphic design, Los Angeles. I'm not sure why it's doing that. We might do web design, LA. We might do Los Angeles. Design, etc. So we would go ahead and fill out those keywords. And we could even put our business name in there as one of the keywords as well if we wanted to. Then for our website URL, that's obviously self-explanatory. So just put your URL, your main URL, right to your homepage in that spot. And then we would put photos for the next step. So here we're gonna need some photos for the different citations that we make. For example, Yelp, we will need some photos. Obviously, if you just rank a bare bones Yelp page, it's not going to do very much good for the business. So we want to make sure we actually build out these citations correctly. In order to do that, we're going to need some photos. So if your client already has some photos, that's great. Chances are you have some photos of your business. You can use those. If not, go on a stock photography website and purchase some photos. So anywhere from 5 to 10 photos would be great for this section. Typically, the easiest way to do this is to create some kind of shared folder on Google Drive or Dropbox and put in your images that you want to use. And then I'll just paste that Google Drive folder URL or Dropbox URL right in this Excel file. That way, it's easy just go to those photos, and I can always edit that folder at any time, obviously, without editing that URL here. So if I pass this on to an outsourcer or anything later on, it's easy for me to still change that without directly editing this Excel file. And finally, we have hours of operation. So a lot of times we'll need to put our hours of operation here. So this is obviously very standard. Monday through Friday, whatever your hours are, you would put them here for that business. And that's pretty much how you go about filling out this template. So once you have all this information filled out for the business that you want to do local SEO for, then you will be ready to move on to the next step. And we're going to be referring back to this template quite a few times. So make sure you have it filled out.